Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video, I'm going to be giving you my player ratings from our 6-1 drumming against Tottenham at Old Trafford. So, David De Gea, he's going to get a 5 out of 10. Didn't really have a lot to do, to be honest with you, apart from take the ball out of the net 6 times. I think he did make a couple of saves in the game. David De Gea must have conceded around 11 goals now in his, last 3 games. This is David De Gea's 10th season at Manchester United, and like I've said to you before, David De Gea's had 7 good years out of the 9 years or so he's been at Manchester United, because in the last couple of years he has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. De Gea has made over 400 appearances for Manchester United in all competitions. 300 odd of those appearances have come in the Premier League. Probably De Gea will stay for this season and probably will leave the football club next summer. When De Gea does eventually leave Manchester United, he will go back to Spain. But like I've said to you before, Solskjaer needs to put Dean Henderson as number 1. Because in the last 2 games Dean Henderson has played in, he has kept clean sheets. And he's reliable enough now to become our number 1 goalkeeper, because he has got that experience behind him, don't forget, as Dean Henderson. Now, Wan-Bissaka, he's going to get a 4 out of 10. Caught out of position far too many times in the game. Also, I've got to say, probably was at fault for one of the goals. Wan-Bissaka's had a really poor start to the season, hasn't he? This season is Wan-Bissaka's 2nd season at the football club. And I've always said he's got to improve his attacking intent, because that's what he's really lacking at the moment. His defensive contribution's always been good, but I thought today defensively wasn't even good. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace last summer. Eric Bailly, 3 out of 10. Very, very poor. Definitely was accountable for at least one of the goals. Solskjaer said, he's going to play Eric Bailly regularly this season alongside Harry Maguire. Now, like I've said to you, my own element of concern about Eric Bailly is that he is injury prone. Eric Bailly's enjoyed a good 4 years or so now at Manchester United. I still think, though, he's a better centre-half than Victor Lindelof. Victor Lindelof obviously, wasn't involved in the game today. Harry Maguire, he's going to get a 2 out of 10. Made some errors. He was definitely accountable for, I think, Tottenham's first 2 goals. He was accountable, was Harry Maguire. Solskjaer's already made his decision on Harry Maguire. He will remain Manchester United captain this season. As it stands at the moment, Harry Maguire is the 2nd most expensive signing at the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world. But aspects of his game have got to improve. He wasn't worth the £80 million that we paid for him. He was probably worth maybe around £40 or £50 million. Luke Shaw, you've got to say probably he was accountable for one of the goals as well. Luke Shaw was poor, so I'm going to give Luke Shaw a 3 out of 10. Didn't really show much attacking intent. Defensively, wasn't that good. Tottenham, got down his left-hand side far too many times. But my only element of concern about Luke Shaw is that he is injury-prone. And he remains our first choice left-back at the moment. But when obviously, Alex Telles to Manchester United is official, he will no longer be our first choice left-back. Paul Pogba, I don't think he was that good, to be honest with you. Gave the ball away so often in the game. Paul Pogba, don't forget, gave the penalty away. Because obviously, he had fouled Ben Davies. That was obviously, Tottenham's 6th goal. Maybe started the game brightly, did Paul Pogba, to be fair. I do think, that Paul Pogba will stay at Manchester United for at least another season. I think we've got to get him a new long-term contract to end the uncertainty over his future. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. I think before the start of this season, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, had come out and said that Pogba wants to stay at Man United and he will hold talks over a new contract. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. So I'm going to give Paul Pogba a 4 out of 10. Nemanja Matic, he's going to get a 3 out of 10. I thought looked far too exposed. Wasn't so good, when he had the possession. Yeah, poor. Bruno Fernandez, he's going to get a 6 out of 10. To be fair, started the game brightly. Bruno Fernandez, obviously scored from the penalty spot. Bruno Fernandez, to be honest with you, has had a few bad games as a Manchester United player, let's be honest. But in a lot of his games, he's done very, very well. Don't forget, last season won some Matt Busby Player of the Season. Reflect on his good performances. I think he must have won Premier League Player of the Month around 3 times. We got Bruno Fernandez in a deal worth £55 million from Sporting Lisbon. Marcus Rashford, he's going to get a 4 out of 10. Don't think he was that good. Don't forget, Marcus Rashford had hit the post in the game, though. I think that was the best chance that Manchester United had. Mason Greenwood, going to give him a 5 out of 10. He did create some good openings at times, did Mason Greenwood. Prior to that, wasn't really that good. Don't forget, Mason Greenwood was recently withdrawn from Gareth Southgate's England squad. Solskjaer's obviously reacted to this and he's backed Gareth Southgate's decision. Don't forget, before the start of this season, we had a few issues with Mason Greenwood. Anthony Martial, he's going to get a 5 out of 10. Didn't really do much in the game. Obviously, Anthony Martial had been sent off in the game. That's one decision I don't agree with because I don't think he should have been sent off. He'd been actually sent off for attacking Eric Lamela. But I think actually Eric Lamela had elbowed him first. So we was down to 10 men for the vast majority of the game. But I still think, Martial's done well under Solskjaer. He was very, very good last season, to be fair. Martial's enjoyed a good 5 years or so now at the football club. Obviously, we got him for £36 million from Monaco in 2016. Martial did well, though, in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. We also brought some subs on in the game. Donny van de Beek obviously came on. There was question marks, why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't start Donny van de Beek. Donny van de Beek has not yet made his full Premier League debut for the club. And I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10 because, Donny van de Beek wasn't too good when he came on. Fred also came on in the game. He's going to get a 3 out of 10. He wasn't good, when he came on, was Fred. Tommy, he's going to get a 2 out of 10. He wasn't so good when he came on. So they're the substitutions that Manchester United had brought on. So that is your player ratings for this game. By the way, it's the first time we have lost our first 2 opening games at Old Trafford in the league for 34 years. And it is our worst defeat in the Premier League era at Old Trafford since I think the 6-1 defeat to Manchester City back in 2011. Solskjaer's come out and made an admission saying that it is his worst defeat in his managerial career. This is probably the worst defeat under the Solskjaer era. Don't forget, before we had that 4-0 defeat to Everton. But like I said, the goals. Obviously, Bruno Fernandez scored the penalty for us. We got the penalty because obviously, Martial had been brought down by Davinson Sanchez. Obviously, Tottenham's goals. Kane obviously, scored 2. One of them came from a penalty. Kane also got an assist in the game. Human's son, he also scored 2 goals in the game. He was a doubt before this game because he recently was out with injury. Humanson, I think, also got an assist, and the other 2 goals were from Tanguy Ndombele. He obviously scored Tottenham's equaliser, and Serge Aurier had also got his name on the score sheet and also got an assist in the game. I think also too Holberg had got an assist in the game. But no one, would have expected, 6-1 to Tottenham. You wouldn't not have expected this whatsoever. But now, reflecting on this result, Solskjaer is going to be under serious pressure now. And, you'll have a lot of Manchester United fans now demanding him out of the football club. And there's a lot of Manchester United fans saying that, we should recommend Mauricio Pochettino in as our next manager. Now, don't forget, Mauricio Pochettino was linked with the managerial role at Man United for a while, and before Solskjaer got the job permanently in March last year. Now, I do like Pochettino, and I think if he came into Manchester United, he'd do very, very well, to be honest with you. He really, really would. Pochettino did endure 5.5 years with Tottenham, didn't he? And analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. He's Premier League proven, but the only element of concern about Mauricio Pochettino is that he's not won anything in terms of silverware, has he? Massimiliano Allegri at one point was linked with the managerial role at Man United, and so too was Zinedine Zidane. But not all of the blame stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Maybe in some aspects, some of the blame stems from Solskjaer, because I think in a lot of his games at Manchester United, he has been very tactically naive. I think he got the selection right today, apart from, not starting Donny van de Beek, to be honest with you. Maybe he should have started Dean Henderson in net because, like I've said, Dean Henderson should now be our number 1. Solskjaer's now managed 94, is it around 94 games now as Manchester United manager, and he's been at the club almost 2 years. So people will have different perceptions on this, but I think, we've got to get Woodward and the Glazers out of the football club, because they're destroying the club, and, they've been destroying the club for like the last 7 years. But we've been very, very critical of Woodward and the Glazers. Obviously, reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. We've obviously, overpaid for players as well. I think the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't been backed enough. And I think, throughout the course of this summer transfer window, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's not been backed enough. So, reflecting on the lack of transfer activity, Solskjaer is not to blame, because Solskjaer's publicly admitted that Manchester United have got to spend money in this summer transfer window. You know what I mean? And, the only positive is, from a Manchester United perspective, that Alex Telles is incoming, and also too Edison Cavani is incoming. So that'll be 3 signings we've made in this summer transfer window. Solskjaer has spent around, £240 million at the football club. But we've got to get Woodward and the Glazers out. Woodward's been at the football club since 2012, and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. Matt Judge, he's also accountable, for some of the failure of transfers. The transfer window shuts tomorrow, at 11 o'clock. Another one of my element of concerns that there's teams around us that have also done very, very good recruitment. We've also missed out on a lot of targets under Solskjaer, especially in this summer transfer window. We missed out on Reguilon. We also missed out on Gareth Bale. We missed out on Jack Grealish. We missed out on Erling Haaland in January. We also missed out on Jude Bellingham. And another one of the frustrating things is that, Tottenham did have a good side out today, but, they had a couple of players out. Bale wasn't involved because he was out with injury. Giovan Lo Celso wasn't involved because he was out with injury. Toby Alderweireld didn't play any part. Dele Alli, he didn't start, but he came on in the game. Steven Bergwijn, you know, he didn't play any part for Tottenham. And, you know, Jose Mourinho, you know, will be just delighted, you know, to get one over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, this is the first time Jose Mourinho has beaten Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager. Now, you know, don't forget last season, you know, we actually, you know, beat Tottenham at home by 2-1. And in the game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last season, it was 1-1. You know, but a lot of the time, you know, we do seem to beat Tottenham. Was it a few years ago as well? You know, Tottenham have beaten us at Old Trafford by 3-0. That's obviously, you know, when we had Jose Mourinho. But, you know, Tottenham have got Mourinho now. They've got a manager who was obviously, you know, past his sell-by date, because for a while now, a lot of Tottenham fans have been very, very critical of Jose Mourinho, haven't they? Don't get me wrong, you know, Jose Mourinho's got a fantastic pedigree behind him, you know, reflecting on what he's won, yeah, you know, Mourinho's won around 25 major honours in his managerial career, hasn't he? Don't forget, Mourinho endured 2.5 years with us. He won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with us. Also got a second in his first season. But I give you the main explanations why Jose Mourinho's tenure at Manchester United did not work out. Tottenham, don't forget as well, got rid of Christian Eriksen in January. He left to join Inter Milan. And Christian Eriksen endured around 7 years with Tottenham, so he was a long-serving player. Tottenham have now got Danny Rose back, by the way. Because obviously, you know, he was out on loan with Newcastle last season. But we haven't had a good start to the season, have we? You know, lost at home to Crystal Palace on the opening day, 3-1. That was our first defeat on an opening day. Our worst defeat on an opening day of a Premier League season since 1995. And then obviously, you know, we had a bit of a good vein of form, you know, beating Luton 3-0 in the Carabao Cup third round. But that was obviously a game we was expected to win. And we even struggled in that one, to be fair. We beat Brighton 3-2. That's the only league game we've won so far this season. We was definitely lucky to win that because Solskjaer had made that admission. And, you know, we beat Brighton in the Carabao Cup by 3-0. Our next league game after the international break is Newcastle, isn't it? You know. But I don't think Solskjaer will get sacked at this moment in time. Maybe he'll get given at least a few more games. But he's in the same position now as he was in at the first part of last season, because don't forget, at the first part of last season, we endured our worst start ever to a Premier League season, didn't we? And at that point, you know, Solskjaer was very, very close to getting sacked as Manchester United manager. Now, I think for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to keep his job at the club, he's got to exceed his expectations this season. And obviously, you know, he'll be expected to guide us to a top 4 finish, which I don't think is going to happen the way we're playing at the moment. And obviously, you know, win a trophy. Because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. If he doesn't exceed his expectations anyway, he will get sacked as Manchester United manager, won't he? Simple as that. Like Roy Keane recently said. You know, there's still deadwood at Manchester United, isn't there? And there's still more players that we do need to get rid of before this transfer window shuts. Now, we've recently offloaded 2 players. You know, Delors went out on loan to AC Milan. Obviously, you know, Andres Pereira went out on loan to Lazio, didn't he, for 1 season. There's obviously a lot of other players that have left since Solskjaer came. You know, Lukaku left. Maybe we should have kept Lukaku, to be honest. You know, Herrera left. He's another player we should have kept. You know, Sanchez obviously left the club. Fellaini left in January 2019. He was the first player to leave under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We obviously, you know, let Darmian go. We let Valencia go. We let Young go. We let Angel Gomez go. There's also a few players that Manchester United have loaned out. So obviously, you know, they can get regular first team football, you know. But, you know, there's still deadwood at Manchester United, isn't there? And there's still more players that we do need to get rid of before this transfer window shuts. Now, we've recently offloaded 2 players. You know, Delors went out on loan to AC Milan. Obviously, you know, Andres Pereira went out on loan to Lazio, didn't he, for 1 season. There's obviously a lot of players that have left since Solskjaer came. You know, Don't get me wrong, you know, there's some positives to take from Solskjaer's tenure. You know, he's made some good signings, he's got rid of a lot of players, you know, he's give the youngsters their opportunities and that. But I just don't think he's the foreseeable future for Manchester United. I really, really don't. And I hate to say that because I like Solskjaer a lot. He's a club legend. He was a great player for the football club for 11 years, flourished under Ferguson's guidance. You know what I mean? But he hasn't got that proven pedigree behind him. Let's be honest, you know, Man United is the third club in his managerial career. Obviously, you know, before he was with us, you know, he was at Molde, won a few Norwegian titles with Molde, and before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff. You know, enjoyed the very, very short tenure with Cardiff, but the main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because, you know, he ended up, you know, getting Cardiff relegated, didn't he? But, you know, Solskjaer was saying before the start of this season that he had a lot of confidence, you know, from where we left off last season, because to be honest with you, he exceeded most of his expectations last season. Obviously, you know, got us qualification for the Champions League, also got us third. Obviously, you know, we progressed to 3 semi-finals and all of that. And we've had some good periods under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Now, if we was to sack Solskjaer, you know, would it solve a lot? Would it solve a lot? Because we've not really got the structure to keep sacking managers, despite the fact that we have sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Obviously, you know, we sacked Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho and all of that. So Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. You know what I mean? And in the last 7 years, we have spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Ferguson era. We've also got players on big contracts at the football club. But to be honest with you, I just don't see us winning the title under Solskjaer. I think we are at least a good 4 or 5 years off from winning the title. We're probably at least 3 or 4 signings off, you know, for mounting any title challenge up. And don't forget, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, don't forget. You know, but the players we're looking to get rid of is obviously Lingard, Smalling, Jones and Romero. There's obviously no rumours of Daniel James possibly leaving the football club. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.